All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Free. I'm Ryan, I'm the pastor here. Can y'all feel the energy in this room right now? There is some energy happening. Welcome to Free. If you're new with us, we are a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. And what we like to do here at Free is break the silence of addiction and create space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. And we are a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. If that's you, even if it's not you, even if you just stumbled upon this live feed on YouTube or Facebook or our website, we're glad you're here. Stick around. We're excited that you're here. A couple of things you might need to know about. We had an event planned. Y'all remember the Free Gives event with Tomas Hernandez? Postponed until this week. It was supposed to be 2 weeks ago, but that was the night we got 13 inches of snow, so we had to postpone. It's happening this Wednesday. I want everyone to come. This will be out in the parking lot at Free. If you remember, Tomas's home burned down just about a month ago. His family was able to get out safely, but they did lose all their stuff. So we're having a pizza truck out here. The pizza is free. You get a personal wood-fired pizza, so come have dinner. There's a sign-up. We have a sign-up genius for items you can bring for Tomas and his family. You can bring gift cards, cash donations. We just want to do like a fundraiser, a collection of items for Tomas and his family. Will someone post that sign-up genius in the link right now? Saman's going to post that. Thank you, Saman. Listen, even if you can't bring anything and you just want to come for community and to hang out, come. That's what this place is about, creating space. So if you need that, come. Come have some pizza, come hang out. All right, y'all, a couple other things you might want to know about. Actually, I think that's all, isn't it? Do we have any other? I think that's it. So listen, tonight, before we jump into our theme on courage and going all in, speaking of courage, we have Shannon Martinez in the house. She did a letter to your addiction, and I want y'all to check it out. Shannon is on our board of directors here at Free. We have a guest storyteller in the house, David McElwain. He's the chair of our board. He's our guest storyteller tonight. So tonight, you get to see two members from our board of directors. Here's Shannon. Check out her letter.
My name is Shannon Martinez. My sobriety date is November 21st, 2010. And this is a letter to my addiction. Dear addiction, my two-faced friend, the one I have defended breathlessly till the end, the friend I still hold in a safe place to keep her from harming myself and those I love, my mistress that lays waiting. You truly are the one that has been with me the whole time, until the bitter end. You've held me tight in your grips, you've lied to me, and you've told me it was going to be okay. My friend, what I've come to realize on this reckless journey, though, is that you are the one that has caused me to drive everyone away. When I would move farther away from those that cared about me, you told me I was strong enough to be on my own. When I would surround myself with others who behaved the way I did, you told me, see, you're not alone. This is fun. We're living life to the fullest. So I thought. You pumped my ego up so big I believed you when you told me I didn't have a problem. I could never. They say hindsight is 20/20, but you kept the blinders on so tight, I couldn't see the path of wreckage you had caused. I believe you when you said it was their fault, and that I was the victim of all the chaos in my life. This had been done to me. Like a vicious wave, one by one, everyone started to disappear. The phone would ring less and less. I was relying on the notes you would help me write in a blackout stupor, so I could try to remember the day before. We would try to hide any evidence of the internal war brewing between us. You were my God, so I gave it all to you. I gave you my health, my family, my acquaintances, my job, my mind, and most importantly, my soul. Faster and faster the decline. You got bigger until I started to recognize you. My ego, still so big, would not let me admit what so many already knew. You silenced my cries for help. As I grew smaller, you grew to run the show. Every night I would pray not to wake up, and every night I would allow you to win with the hopes that this battle would end. I simply wasn't strong enough to do it on my own. There was no one left to fight with. My family had all but given up. With broken hearts and multiple attempts at help, you had beaten them too. No work, as no one would hire us in that state. My partners had run in embarrassment as they tried too many times to get me to see just how bad you were for me. Daily, I was sending a wish list to someone high in the sky, hoping they could make it stop, but no one answered, so you told me they weren't there. Stints in ICU with doctors telling me I had hours to live, and still you lingered and lied. A chaplain came and prayed by my bed, and I so wanted to believe in his words, but there was so much work to be done. I wanted anything to be true besides for the fact that I was an alcoholic. I wanted any excuse to be real, that I could still be the victim and someone would fix this for me. You were silenced on the night of November 21st, 2010. I drove my car up the mountain road and I felt my tires slide. I saw the mountainside come up fast and I felt the biggest sense of relief because I knew that this sick relationship was finally over. I was praying I wouldn't wake up, but I smelled the powder from the airbags and I felt my back pinned to the seat. I had a glimpse of a different life. There truly had to be a God, and he had to have a sense of humor to take me to the brink and pull me back out of the fire. It was a switch. For the first time in years, you had lost, and I wanted nothing to do with you. I wanted to fight. I wanted to work. All the shame and embarrassment aside, my ego totally laid down. I surrendered. My relationship with God in the beginning was a lot like you, totally unfamiliar. I'm not sure what to believe. I'm not sure what to tell others. Where do I even begin? I was standing at the bottom of a mountain. I had no idea how to climb. I had to break up with you. I was told by a counselor in the beginning, whatever your first instinctual thought is, do the exact opposite, meaning I can't run the show anymore. I had to believe in something bigger. There had to be a place, even if temporary, to lay my demons down and get back to knowing me. Learning to take accountability, to sit face to face with my wreckage, to listen to and actually hear all the pain I had caused. Let my loved ones pour their heartache out to me and figure out my part has not been easy, but it has been truthful. I've been given a set of tools by others just like me on how to handle life. Gifts and promises of hope and a beautiful life have come true. To put my faith into his hands and trust there is a purpose and a place for even me have played out in time. I'm no longer a victim of any part in life. I take accountability. God has granted me things I couldn't provide for myself. The obsession to drink is gone today. I get to turn that extra time over to the service of helping others, putting others first through work, through prayer. I'm not saying every day is roses. I know you are still there. Every morning my feet hit the floor with a choice to make sure that you remain in the background. I wake up to put my faith in a higher power, and when I become complacent, I'm reminded by those around me that there's a better solution. And never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined the life I have today. God has given me my family back. And with hard-earned trust and honesty, today I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm an aunt, a sister, a business owner, just to name a few. And today, I'm moved with compassion and empathy and a God of my understanding's love. I still have work on forgiving myself and you on a daily basis. The shame of our relationship sneaks up on me, and today I have the gift of turning that over to God. The beauty is, today I have a set of skills and tools to do that. There's a small part of me that's grateful for you, because without taking me to the bottom, I never would have appreciated the top. And without having to do the hard work, the outcome would not have been so sweet. You've brought me closer to God, and every supposed wrong turn has ultimately led me here.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad you're part of this community. Thank you for opening your heart and being courageous to share that with us. Thank you. It's good stuff, wasn't it, y'all? I love it when y'all share your stories, your battles, your overcomings, your joy with this community, because it shows that we're all in it together. So we'll keep that thing going. Speaking of being all in it together, The way we start this community is with celebrations. We lift up all the good stuff that we're celebrating, whether that's sobriety anniversaries or birthdays or babies being born or the new jobs you're getting, whatever it is, the new thing in life, we want to celebrate it together. We believe that God celebrates with us. We believe that God loves for us to experience joy together. So I want you to take a couple of minutes. If you're joining us virtually, put in your celebrations in the comments. I know if you're new with us, it can feel a little weird and creepy and awkward because you're like, man, I don't even know these people. Trust me, you're going to have a bunch of people surrounding you, like a couple thousand people throughout the week surrounding you, celebrating with you, and something profound happens when we do it together. And if you're here in the house, man, I just love it. I love seeing y'all's faces, and there's some new faces here. It's so good to see the new people. If you're new, we'll celebrate together during this time. So take a couple minutes online, give us your celebrations, then we'll come right back.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go. Got that smile upon my face, 'cause there's excitement in the chase, this I know. Yeah, I'm going for the ride and find myself, I am alive, and I soar. Still I run towards the wind and let the challenge draw me in, 'cause I want more. Oh, we are all looking for adventure. 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 Oh, wake up heart and wake up mind, and see the world is yours to find. And with every passing day there's more, calling you out to explore. Get up and go. There is joy found in the race, and I feel it in the place where I'm free. And I simply can't deny it, that I feel adventure calling out to me. Yeah, we are all looking for adventure. 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 We are all looking for And I'm living free, living free, living free, and I was meant to be. Living free, living free, living free, and I was meant to be. I'm living free.
Amy, you joining me up here? She's gonna make me be by my lonesome. Good to be back with y'all. Yes. We have one more. Hey, can you put it in the comments? We're live right now. Put it in the comments. Thank you, Abe. Abe's gonna drop something in the comments. We're gonna celebrate it so hard in just a minute.
So hard.
All right, man, we need more time is what I'm saying. We need more time to celebrate because there's good stuff happening here. More what? There's more people here. I love it. I love it. All right, let's drop some on the screen and celebrate together.
I have a big one. Can I go first?
You're going to take Roy's spot?
If I could.
All right, Roy, you got to hold on for just a moment.
You know, my sister Val just sent a group text to the family and reminded us that 29 years ago today, my dad legally adopted us.
All right.
Yeah. So
That's beautiful.
love you, Dad. I know you are watching tonight, and love you.
Beautiful. Good move, Bill. Good move. All right. I'll take this one. Roy says, celebrating my sister Wanda Kung, joining us tonight from California. Thankful for my sister. Celebrating that with you, Roy. Welcome, Wanda. Glad you're here.
Yes, good to have you,
And
Wanda.
I think Mom and Joe are actually going to see Roy later this week. They're in Asheville, and Roy's in Asheville, North Carolina. Welcome, North Carolina. All right, y'all. Glad you're here, Roy. Celebrating with you.
Gina says, there is sobriety in my house today.
Boom.
Awesome.
We'll celebrate that.
Steph G.
Congratulations, Gina. Glad to hear that. Amanda says, celebrating laughter, I've been able to hear my laughter. All right, Amanda,
Good
we're going to
stuff,
celebrate that with you. Good news. Thank you for sharing that with us.
And Steve says, we have our daughter Melanie visiting us from Virginia, who we haven't seen in months.
All right. Way to
good
go,
stuff.
Steve. Celebrating that with you all.
Hey, Jen.
Jen, also from North Carolina, and Christy. Christy and I may or may not be starting a nonprofit for animal rescue in the very near future.
I could see that coming.
Subtle hint, hint. Totally makes sense. We're gonna celebrate that, Jen. Good luck in this new endeavor. Very exciting.
Hey, Shirley. She says, my dad got his first COVID vaccine. That's one step closer to finally seeing them since COVID hit.
All right. Thank you for sharing that with us, Shirley Colella.
All right.
By the way, when you see that last name, you got to say the last name.
Oh, yes.
You can't say their
can
name
leave it
without
up
saying
to
the
you.
last name. Should we cut it off there? Let's cut it off there. If you have more celebrations, drop them in the comments. We will celebrate with you all week long. Abe's still working on his celebration. We're going to get that later tonight. All right,
later,
y'all.
too.
Good to be with you all. Thank you, Tammy. We're back from Florida, by the way. We had a great trip. We had a lot of fun. It was warm and sunny and just beautiful. My mom got married. Life is good. They're honeymooning right now. So life is good, and it's good to be back with you all. Let's talk about courage and going all in for the next few moments, shall we? So here's the deal. I don't know about your phone, but my phone, and I see some of you all have your phones out, my phone is full of moments. Like, to be exact, to date, currently my phone is full of 2,513 moments, because that's how many pictures and videos I have stored in my phone right now. And that's what they are, right? They're moments. And moments tell stories, don't they? Like, I bet if you were to take out your phone right now and start scrolling through your picture albums or your video albums, you could stop on any random picture, and that tells a story, doesn't it? You could tell us what you were doing there. You could tell us probably what made you take that picture, why you kept that picture, why you didn't hit the delete button. You could probably tell us exactly how you felt in that moment. Is it true? So on Thursday afternoon, I was on a flight. We were flying back from Florida to Denver, which meant we had 4.5 hours on an airplane, which means you pull out your phone and you start scrolling through all those moments. And as I came across this picture. Yeah, see, this was quite a moment. That was back in September of 2018. That's our daughter, Shiloh, our second daughter. And do y'all know what stands out here? I'll never forget how she was smiling at me and I was smiling at her, because on this day she was so done up in her Hello Kitty helmet and her Hello Kitty bicycle and the wraparound handlebars. And she was so proud, and I was so dang proud of her. Because on this day in September of 2018, she learned how to ride her bicycle by herself without training wheels. And y'all, let me tell you why this is so significant. Because I thought this day is never going to happen. Because all summer long leading up to September, we would work with Shiloh in trying to learn how to ride her bicycle. And she'd get on without training wheels, and she'd go about 3 feet, and then she'd fall over. She'd get back up, go about 3 feet, and then fall over. Then she'd get back on, get back up, go about 3 feet, and fall over. And I thought, man, she's just not going to get it. Something's not clicking with it. She's just not going to get this thing. Until that afternoon in September. And sometimes she'd get real frustrated. Poppy, I'm just going in. I'm done with this. I ain't doing it anymore. And on this day, she came out. She was ready to go. The helmet, the Hello Kitty bicycle, wraparound handlebars. And she gets on. And I look down the street both ways, all clear. And I give her a little push up the hill. And she starts to pedal. And she starts to bicycle up the hill. And she was so excited. She's riding with those handlebars. Poppy, look at me. I'm doing it. And she's looking back. And I'm saying, baby, you can't look back. What happens? There's a message here. What happens when you look back? You fall over. You got to keep looking forward. Keep going up and down the street. But just because she learned how to ride the bicycle doesn't mean that she mastered it all in that moment, right? She still fell over. She still had to learn the art of, you know, when you're going up a hill and you're making a U-turn on a bicycle, you can't stop pedaling, right? Because what happens when you stop pedaling? You fall over, you fall off. You got to keep pedaling. She had to learn that. She had to learn that art. See, this picture of my daughter, it's a story of courage. A moment of courage. The falling and getting up again and again and again. Speaking of moments in my phone, you know, every single month I get a text from my friend Julie. And this has happened for the last 10 months. And I have to tell y'all, it has been one of the greatest joys for me during this pandemic. Each month when I get this text, it just does all kinds of good things for my soul. Do we have the picture? Not that one. That's still my daughter. There's Julie. Every single month I get a picture, and it started 10 months ago, and it was a picture of her holding up her 30 days sober, and then 60 days sober, then 90 days sober, then 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, 8, 9. Last month was 10 months, and it's the same picture. Sometimes she's wearing a mask, sometimes she's not. She's always smiling. I promise you under that, she is smiling huge. And if you knew her backstory, you would know what a courageous act this was and is to send a text each month. Because see, like many of us in recovery, she didn't exactly come in on a winning streak. She came in when things were broken, hard, and for years, Julie tried to do it on her own, living in that denial, living in that shame, trying to somehow get sober on her own without God and without community. And see, I have to be honest with y'all, make a confession to y'all. I have this character defect. I have lots of them. But this particular one says, man, they're never going to make it. They are not going to get sober. Sobriety, recovery is just not for them. Some of you in this room I said that about. And it wasn't just about you people. I was also really good at saying that about myself. It's what kept me from getting sober for so long. Man, Ryan, you are not cut out for this sobriety stuff. Recovery for you, it hasn't clicked yet. You keep falling. You go 3 feet, then you fall off again. You go 3 feet, then you fall off again. And I'm telling y'all, every time I do that still, God's like, would you stop doing that? Would you stop undermining my work in people? Would you stop undermining the miracle that you've seen in your own life? And see, now look at Julie. 10 months sober. God doing a work in her in spite of Ryan's character defects. And every single month, I get the reminder, I get this picture that reminds me of the courage it takes to keep going. You see, because courage in its simplest form is the moment you decide to keep engaging even when it's hard, even when you fall, even when you are disappointed, even when giving up seems to be a more viable option. That's courage. And I want to read with you all, this passage from a speech. It was given in 1910 by a man by the name of Theodore Roosevelt. And some of you all are familiar with this speech. It was titled Citizenship of a Republic. And it's perhaps better known as The Man in the Arena. Yeah, this one's good. So good. Here's a couple lines from The Man in the Arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause? Who at the best knows in the end the triumph of a high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly. Do y'all remember this speech? And see, Brené Brown, you've heard me mention her before. She's one of my favorite authors. She wrote a book, and it's called Daring Greatly. I highly recommend it. And this book was written in response to this speech. And in the opening pages, she writes this, and I just want to read a couple of lines. She says, the first time I read this quote, I thought, this is vulnerability. Everything I've learned from over a decade of research on vulnerability has taught me this exact lesson. Vulnerability is not knowing victory or defeat. It's understanding the necessity of both. It's engaging. It's being all in. My brothers and sisters, when's the last time you were all in? And look, if you decide to go all in your life, I need to remind you, you are going to fail. You will experience failure. You will experience moments where you're disappointed. There will be moments where you fall flat on your face and experience pain. But if you decide to go all in when it comes to your life and to your faith, you will also experience incredible, tremendous amounts of joy and overcoming. But you have to remember, courage and defeat always walk hand in hand. You know, it was in 2018 that Tammy, my wife, and I, we made the intentional decision to go all in our lives and in our faith. It was the year we started Free Spiritual Community in our backyard. And I won't go through the whole story. I know some of you know this story, and I'll tell it another time, but how we started Free. But what I can tell you was, man, it was a time in our lives where we so persuasively felt God's calling to step into this thing, to step out of an old path and onto a new path. And there was all of this nervous, excited energy. And I'm telling y'all, I mean this when I say it, the same energy that was there in June of 2018 is still here today, I promise you. But it was a time when we made the intentional decision to take a step into the unknown. Just take a step in a new direction. You don't know how it's going to turn out. It comes with a bit of fear, doesn't it? Anyone ever stepped into a new thing? Yeah, it comes with some fear. We're lying if we say we're not scared while we're doing it. But it also comes with joy and energy, sweaty palms, upside down stomach, hard to sleep sometimes. And I'd be lying to you if I said we didn't make some major mistakes along the way. And I'm going to use my I language for just a moment because Tammy's not standing up here with me, so I'll just speak for myself on this one. I made some mistakes along the way. And you know the most costly mistakes, the biggest mistakes in my experience, they involve people and they involve hearts. And see, another one of Ryan's character defects is, man, I can get so excited and I get so passionate about a vision and I just start running towards that vision and I forget that there's other people to bring along, and you look around and all of a sudden you're by yourself and you forgot to bring the others with you. And I'm not trying to be vague with y'all. It's just this is a pretty new project. You know, we started in 2018 and it involves people. And so I don't want to discuss those matters publicly, but I promise you, if you want to know more and we're talking in private, I'll open book on those issues. I'll share those big mistakes with you all day long. I made the mistake of settling for mediocrity along the way. Some of y'all can relate to this. You know, when we were outgrowing the Canada backyard, we were looking for a space to move into. And I had my heart set on the Grease Monkey down the street. Man, this place was sweet though. It could have fit like 6 people in it. It was sweet. Double bay garages, had the organic industrial feel to it. And man, we were going to get this place. We worked 2 months to get our funding set up and to raise money and to sign a contract. And that week when we were supposed to go and sign the contract, the guy said, man, I just changed my mind. I don't want to lease it. I want to do something else with it. And man, I was pissed off. God, why would you do this to us? Why would you bring us all the way out here just to leave us high and dry and the Grease Monkey doesn't work and our dreams are over? And God's like, Ryan, can you just calm down for a minute? Can you just be patient for a minute? That same day, Tammy and we did a video on social media. That same day, Tammy Lord, who helped us get into this current space and who's helping us find new space, she calls me and says, man, I didn't know you were looking for space. She said, come look at this space where you're currently sitting if you're here in the house. And we came and looked at it. I still have the video on my phone, because I took a video of it. I said, this place is really cool, but there is no way we can afford it. She said, well, what's your budget? I mean, this is double, almost triple the size of the Grease Monkey. I said, trust me, I know the numbers. We can't afford it. What's your budget? Do y'all know we got in just under our budget here for the last 2 years? And let me say this too. Whenever you decide to step into the new thing, whenever you decide to step onto a new path, out of an old path and onto a new path, whenever you decide to step into the arena and stay in the arena, there will always be those people in the stands. There will always be those people on the old path that will try to convince you that it's a bad idea to step into the new path, to stay in the arena. Keep in mind though, they're in the stands. They're not the ones getting their butts kicked. They're going to try to give you opinions all day long. Don't do that. You don't know how the new thing's going to turn out. You don't know how the future is going to go. You don't know how to even do the new thing. You know how to do the old thing. Maybe you should stay with that. You know, for the last 6 months during this pandemic, with the Free Board of Directors, we have been engaged in some visioning, a visioning process where we have gotten crystal clear on our vision for Free Spiritual Community for 6 weeks, for several hours each Monday evening. We spent time doing Shannon's laughing because she's here. She knows it's true. She's on the board. We spent time getting clarity around our vision. Where are we headed? And y'all will say more about this when David comes up and shares some of his story, because I want to keep y'all in the loop with where we're headed. It was clear to us that we're more than just a Saturday night service. And if you thought we were just a Saturday night service, well, then you've been missing out even through the pandemic, right? That we want to form into a free spiritual community recovery center and function 6 days a week and have all kinds of things going, because we want to do this. David's telling me 7 days a week. We're going to pray about that. 7 days a week. We're going to do this recovery work together, and I can't wait for y'all to hear about some of the ideas that we have. And about a month ago, we found our new space. And man, we were so excited about this. This space, we were going to live into our vision and mission completely. This space, one of our criteria was it had a large enough room to fit 200 people in, so we could do Saturday nights together when we start opening back up from this pandemic. And we had envisioned moving to 2 services quite quickly. Man, we were so excited about this space. And tonight, for the last couple of weeks, we had planned to come and give a big announcement that we're moving, and it's time to do all hands on deck. We need help. We need fundraising. We need to, we're going to move together on this thing. And do y'all know what happened Monday? Monday, I was in Florida sitting by a pool, literally. Thank you, David. He texted me as I'm sitting by the pool, and his text said, got a hiccup on the LOI, the letter of intent, got a second to chat. So I called David. The deal had fallen through. Someone beat us to the deal. Someone had the funding in place and a better offer, so we lost the space. God, why would you bring us all the way here? We put all this energy in for the last month, and look, now nothing's going to work. It's all stupid. I'm just giving up on this. I mean, that's the initial impulse, right? And God's like, would you settle down for just a minute? Would you just be patient would you just remember your experiences that you've had with me for just a minute? Would you remember that I've got you? And you see, the truth is, y'all, sometimes we can get stuck in the old stories of defeat, and we can stay there, and it's why we need those collective stories that help us spin new stories, stories that help us stay in the arena. So I want to close with one of my favorite stories. It's a story I've held on to from day one of starting free. And it comes from the very first book of the Old Testament, or the Hebrew Bible. It's called Genesis, Genesis chapter 12. It's a story about God calling Abram. Remember, it wasn't until Genesis chapter 17 where his name was changed to Abraham. Still at this point, it's Abram. And the story goes like this. It's just 4 verses. Now the Lord said to Abram, "Go forth from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and the one who curses you I will curse. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed." Then verse 4, the most provocative words in Scripture. So Abram went. Now, if you grew up in Sunday school, if you grew up in the church scene in religion, you might have heard the story taught this way. It's certainly the way I heard it taught. And it was, isn't Abram so great? I mean, we all need to be like Abram. He was just so faithful. He was just so loyal to God. When God called, Abram went. And see, when we spin the story that way, it leaves out the thing that God is doing. It's not a very radical story. You know what makes this story so radical and provocative? See, they're living in a time and in a day where they had a cyclical view of the world. In other words, Abram, your parents worked this land, and your parents' parents worked this land, and your parents' parents' parents worked this land. Abram, you're not going anywhere. You are staying here because your life is already set for you. Nothing's ever going to change. Nothing new is going to happen that hasn't already happened. Why is this story so radical? Because God does a brand new thing in human history. Abram, my boy, listen. I am calling you, I am inviting you to step out of that cycle and to step into a new path, into the unknown, into the new thing. And God was constantly reminding Abram along the way. If you read the chapters of Genesis, God is constantly saying to Abram, Abram, I am going with you. Abram, I am going with you. I'm going to protect you. I am going to provide for you. And Abram, by the way, it is not just about you starting a new tribe. This isn't about starting something and then self-preservation. It is always about you starting a new tribe that is going to bless all the other tribes, because it's about impacting the lives of other people. So Abram went. It is some of the most beautiful words in Scripture. So Free Spiritual Community went. Yeah, not for the sake of just doing something new. That's stupid. That's boring. But for the sake of God calling us to it and God inviting us into the project of impacting the lives of others. And y'all, let's just be honest along the way. Let's get honest. It doesn't take much to knock us off our game, does it? It doesn't take much for us to start buying into the cyclical view of the world. Oh God, that's just the way things are. Nothing's ever going to change. Nothing new is going to happen. It hasn't already happened. It's just the way it is. Doesn't take much, does it? You get betrayed by someone. Someone walks out on you. You don't get the job. You didn't make the team. You didn't get the space you want. You couldn't make that relationship work. And now for all different kinds of reasons, you're stuck in that old cycle. So Abram went. You see, the power in this story is the insistence that you can move, you can act, and you can create. But see, we have to remember, who's in control? Not us. Not us. Who always does the calling, the inviting, the persuading? In my experience, it's God. We just simply get to decide. We have free will. We can make decisions. Are we going to pay attention? Are we going to be all in? Are you going to be all in? And y'all listen, I need you to know this as your pastor here at Free. I want you to know that when it comes to this community, I am all in. As much as I was on day one in 2018 back in June when we were in our backyard. And what I can tell you about our Free board of directors, I'm telling y'all they are all in. And what I know is I look around the room and I envision you all in your living rooms and kitchens and wherever you're hanging out right now, your sober living houses. I know the multitude of leaders we have in this community. I know your hearts. I know you, I see you, and I know that you are all in. And if I'm reading the broader community correctly, and I think I am, y'all are all in. And so my ask is a simple one. Will you stay there? Will you stay there? Because I believe God is doing a mighty work in this community. And we're being called to patience. Ryan, just be patient, man. Don't you trust me by now? Don't you know what we've done together by now? So I want to invite you to just take a moment. We generally ask a question for you all to engage, but I want to ask you to do a little bit of action. If you're the praying type, I want to ask you to send prayers for this Free spiritual community, because we know we don't have long in this current space that we're in. We know they're doing reconstruction here and we're out soon. We need a home. We need a space to go. I want you all to pray for this community. Or if you say, man, I'm not really the praying type, that's for you people there. Okay, send good vibes. Outstretch your arms, send good vibes, send good energy to this community. Lift this community up. If you want to type it in the comments, you can. If you want to type your good vibes, your energy, your prayers, we'll take all of it. So take a moment, lift this community in prayer and good vibes, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a moment to lift this community up, your community, your people, my people, our people. David McElwain is here. Oh, shoot, do we have a little guest storyteller video? Let's play that. We got to introduce David with a little video. Come on now.
No.
Yeah. Man, I had to tell David tonight, no jacket, no tie. Look at him. He's all freed out tonight. You feel comfortable?
Put on my hoodie.
All right, y'all. David, David has become a dear friend of mine. David is, talk about being all in this community. Dude, I can't express my gratitude for you. I want you, he's the chair of our board of directors. So when it comes to finding our new space, David is leading this project. Thank you for that, David. I know today's a big day for you. You shared with the community it's 9 years clean and sober.
9 years today.
9 years, and yeah.
I don't think it's worth applause, though. I really don't. I think it's a moment of renewal. To me, the sobriety dates are not good things. They're just milestones. The good things are, today I moved furniture with my son, and we were able to talk for 4 or 5 hours about all kinds of just different stuff. And that's the good stuff. 9 years ago today, I was ready to kill myself right about now. I would have had the windows opened in the hotel I was in Las Vegas. And that's the reason I'm alive. Because my world fell apart. The world I knew and I had built was shattered with one sentence from my former wife. And the sentence was, "You did it again." And everything I knew fell apart. Within the course of 30 days, I lost my career. I lost my wealth. I lost my family, my self-esteem, my self-constructs. I lost my secrecies and my addictions. I don't even know how to put what I lost in words. And it's like what Shannon said in her letter to the addict. It all ended in a moment. And I didn't know what to do with the moment. I didn't know how to eat it. I didn't know how to throw it away. I didn't know how to function. And I would have taken that window, taken a header out of there if the window had opened. I was on, what, the 18th floor, 9th floor, something like that, of the MGM Grand. Yeah.
I'm glad that window didn't open.
So am I. I'm really glad.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, my kids and I are really happy about that.
And I know it's a significant day.
Yeah.
And I want people to hear. I almost introduced you this way, but how'd you stumble upon this community? Tell us that story.
I told that story tonight to a new friend. Is that there's a restaurant right next door called H&G Asian, and my daughter and I were going to get Chinese food, and there's this little sticker, and it's a Wednesday night, and it says free spiritual refugees, addicts, and loved ones of addicts. And I open the door, and I'm like, what in the world is this? I'll be back in a minute, Ella. And Ryan's doing a book study, and this guy walks up, and he says, I'm the pastor, and look at this dude. He's all tatted out. I had to come check it out. And that was the week 2 weeks before your 4th child was born.
Oh, my goodness. I forgot about that.
That's right. Tammy wasn't here because she was in false labor that week.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. I forgot about that.
See, when you're sober, you have a memory. So
Yeah.
I walked in the doors and haven't walked out yet.
So I want people to also hear, David, what it looks like for us to step into the new with fear, with trembling, with excitement, with nervous energy. I mean, I think this is what life is about. When I asked David, what's that have to do with your recovery? He said, man, everything. That's not just recovery. This is life. This stepping into the new thing is life. Talk to us about, explain to our people what our board has been doing with the visioning. And I also think it's really important for people to know why I asked David to be on this board and the chair of this board. When he started sharing his vision with me, this was now 2 years ago, right? Over 2 years ago.
Because your son's 2 now.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
That's
He's
how
also good at math.
This is how I know.
Uh-huh.
I listen to when his birthday is. Oh, okay.
But he starts casting this vision with me, and I was like, dude, we have the same vision. What'd you call it? It wasn't a recovery center. It was a...
I was in the rim of the Grand Canyon in April of 14, and I had lost my job, and I was trying to figure out what to do. My second job of 2 years I'd lost. And going through the middle of a divorce, and I was at the hotel there on the rim. It's a beautiful hotel, and I designed in my eyes this thing called an Imbalance Recovery Center. And I had formed a company called Imbalance. And the idea was I learned while in rehab I had to keep my life in balance, and that would remind me of what to do. So I etched out one night what I wanted to build. And it was a place that had a spiritual element, a physical element, an emotional element, and a wellness to it, so that you could come in and you could deal with the spirituality, the physical, the emotional, the sexual, all of those items you could deal with in a place that was safe. Because I had kids that needed daycare because I couldn't go to the meetings all the time, because if I had my kids, I couldn't go to my 6:30 meeting. I couldn't leave them alone.
Yep. I get that.
Or I couldn't go to the gym because I had to go to the job and I had to pay child support. Or I couldn't go to church because my kids were asleep. And I wasn't going to be the dad that made them get up to go see religion. That wasn't who I was going to be. So I had that vision, and I actually wrote it out, took it to the Denver Startup Week, sold it, tried to sell it to several different people. And I got told no, no, and no. So when Ryan and I were talking about that, that's what we discussed. And I showed him my deck. And in classic executive summary, I had written him a 10-page deck that I put into 3 pages. And that's where this started. That's where our relationship really started.
And I said, let me show you my 2 paragraphs. And it was serious. It's so cool, y'all. I'll share it with you someday soon, I promise you. In pages on my iPad, we had typed up, because we had to for funding, back in 2018, before we even started, we had to type up our vision. Man, we didn't know what in the heck we were doing. It was creating a recovery center. I always knew Free was more than a church. And we don't have all the language around that. I always knew Free was more than a Saturday night service. It was like, I mean, Tammy, you know how into coffee she is, and Wagon Coffee is just exploding right now. That's part of the vision of a cafe and creating space. Y'all know in our vision, it's creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. And the board, when we went through the visioning process, picked up on, we honed in on, what does it look like to create that space? That's more than just a 12-step meeting. It's more than church. It's bringing all of these elements together. Do you want to say more about that, of how
Always.
Let's let David tell. I want him to hear what we went through with this process.
You know, this doesn't work for me.
You need a pulpit? You want to preach?
No, I don't want a pulpit.
Okay. I'll sit. You stand.
That doesn't work either, does it?
No, it's kind of awkward, but
Yeah,
you do you,
okay.
boo.
Which camera are we talking to? This one? Okay. So the idea is that we create a place of wholeness, not an AA club, not a church. Those of us that are in recovery go to churches almost every day, and I met with the lead pastor of the church that I attended prior to this one, where my children were baptized, and it's got 4,000 members, and my name's on a brick because I gave money to build the building, et cetera. And he said the most spiritual part of our week is you guys that are here every day at 6:30 a.m. And that's what started this dialogue for me, was that I've got this mega institution, the largest Lutheran church in the Rocky Mountains, telling me that the most religion we had was in the rooms of recovery. And I thought, okay, but it wasn't working for me anymore. And I wanted to be able to go somewhere where I could do yoga, or I could walk through a labyrinth, or I could have a cup of coffee with a sponsor or a sponsee, or I could have daycare, or I could go to the gym and I could bust out a sweat. And so the idea that the board has gelled around is very similar to that. We want to build a community that's space-driven, where we have more than one thing. The building that we lost, and that I'm still devastated over, was a 10,000-foot building with 5,000 feet in the basement that was all meeting rooms. Pre-made, done, turnkey. There was a restaurant upstairs that was being evicted, and we were going to open a new cafe. And that cafe was going to operate over a period of time, and it was going to be a place for fellowship, and basically it was going to be a sustaining revenue model for the mission. Super excited about that idea that we can have an operating revenue stream that comes in that allows us to grow and help others. And it would be stable. And
Hold on. Can we talk about that like it's still going to happen, though? You talked about it like in the past.
I'll get there.
Okay. You're making me nervous. Patience. I have patience.
Patience. So this was set. I actually asked another member of the association, Jared Kaplan, to join the board to help us launch the restaurant operations, and he's joined the board, and we're really excited about having Jared on the board.
Welcome, Jared.
And Jared, thank you. You do know what you've committed to, and we'll be talking more. And the idea is that we give you guys a home. When this started about 1.5 years ago and the word home started circulating around here, I love that. Because home is what we want to build. Home is what I feel when I walk in the door. It's what you guys feel. And we want to build this with more intention. We don't want to build an AA club. We want to build something that allows, and we are going to build. Let me change my
There you
language.
go. Preach.
I'll preach it. We are building something that is greater than a simple mission. It is a change in focus, so that when I was going through early recovery and middle recovery, and I don't know what recovery I'm in now, but I was disassociated from my church. I felt alienated. I felt miserable. I didn't want to hear about Jesus. My girlfriend, who's Jewish, says, I'm going to leave Jesus at the door. That's her joke. But what I did want to hear was about a higher power. And some people want to hear about a higher power that's a Christian higher power. Some people want to hear about a higher power that is whatever it may be, their higher power. All I know is I want it to be authentic. And what I found here is authenticity. And I want to extend that to others. So that's the vision, is that we can build a place of sanctuary, a place of fellowship, a place that allows for any A to hold meetings. And we need your help. I cannot do it alone. The board and I talked ad nauseum about what do we want to do, how do we get there, is this what the community needs, is this what the community wants, are we going in the right direction, have we been listening, or are we getting arrogant and full of hubris? In fact, when the deal fell through, I sent Ryan a text that said, I feel like I'm Icarus, and I was afraid I was flying too close to the sun, and we were stretching too far. So our vision was to go buy this building, pay cash for it. We have to move out of our current space because, as Ryan said, it's being reconstructed, and we just don't know when. It's going to be sometime in the next 8 months, at the best, less. So a couple things. If you know of space that has 5,000 to 10,000 feet and some sort of ability to build a cafe, let me or Ryan know. If you know a banker who would like to finance said acquisition, that's something that's not in our Rolodex that we need. So to anybody who's in the finance sector, if you know someone who can help us get that paper to get a note, we'd love that. Or if you want to write a big fat check, we want that too. All day long, yes. Thank you, Saman. And twice on Sunday like they vote in Chicago. So I kind of lost my train of thought.
I think that's good, man.
Yeah. What I'm talking about is that we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And we can't do it alone. The reason that Ryan brought up the Teddy Roosevelt quote was that during the last board meeting, I referenced that quote. And when I was an 18-year-old backpacking guide for the Boy Scouts, I had to teach kids how not to get hurt in the woods. And when I left them on the last day of my training, I always read that quote to them. And it's how we try to live our lives. And in recovery, I had to decide which road to take, the less traveled or the direct one. And I had to decide whether I was going to get up or not get up. And I decided to get up. And I've had to make that decision many days. And it's always a hard decision to make. But I always come back to the same answer, which is I'm going to get up and I'm going to keep going forward. And so I challenge the community today to get up with us, to be prepared to answer the questions and to help and to get involved. And when it's time to write a check, or Venmo, or PayPal, or cash, whatever the case may be. Because I think what we have here is unique. It's compelling. And the people I talk with day in and day out share the same thing, which is that this is a place that feels safe. And that's what we want to build. That's what we are building.
Thank you, David, for being here. And let me just say this. If you all have questions, because we dropped some big stuff on you. If you have questions, he's open for questions. I'm open for questions. The board, you all know the leaders scattered throughout this community. Talk to us. We want to have this open conversation. And let me just close with saying this. Where we move, and we know a move is in our near future, wherever we go, the mission dictates the space. Can we live fully into the mission? And let me also say this. I truly believe wholeheartedly with everything in my being that God's got us. Like God didn't bring us as far as say, okay, you're done now, just close the door. No. That's not, in my experience, that's not the way it works. We keep going one step in front of the other, as we say in recovery, one day at a time, and you trust in something bigger and greater than yourself. Is that not the way it works? That's the way we do things here.
We have to trudge through that road.
Yeah, and we do it together.
We don't know where it's going to end up. Mm-hmm. We really don't. I thought we had it nailed,
So did
and I was wrong.
Yep.
And so we have to get back up. So we keep trudging.
Yeah, and it's good. Good things are happening, y'all. There's some good excitement here, and we're going to keep riding the wave. David, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for leading our board. Thank you for your leadership.
Anytime.
All right. Thank you, brother. I'll take that. All right, y'all. Here's how we close things down at Free. Towards closing. And I realize we are going a little over tonight, so just bear with us. We'll be done by 8:15. How's that? But we can't leave without sharing our burdens together. It's such an essential part of this community is sharing our heartaches, the heavy stuff that we carry, because what I know is you were not created to carry the heavy stuff alone. You can't do it. Your shoulders aren't big enough. Your heart's not got enough space for it all. We do that together. We lift these heartaches and these burdens. We lift them up to God because we believe that God always hears the cries of the people. And we have a prayer team here on site. In fact, I met with this team today. Kristen England joined us all the way from Costa Rica on Zoom. It was so awesome. So good to see you, Kristen. Jason was leading us. This prayer team, man, we lift you all up in prayer each week. We try to connect with you through the week. And because we believe in doing this work together. And I know this community, y'all do it the best I've seen. You lock arms, you check in with one another, you text each other, you Facebook message each other, you meet here, and I love seeing it. So take a couple minutes and give us your heartaches, the things you're carrying. If it feels awkward to put it in, get over the awkwardness because a community wants to walk with you. So just get over that stuff. It's not creepy. You're not alone, I promise. Take 2 minutes and then we'll come back. All right, welcome back, everybody. All right, you want to start us off, Tam?
I will.
Tam's going to start us. There we go. There you go.
Okay. Vincent, a really good friend of mine, is going through a rough time right now. Health problems with her mom and less time to care for her child and niece, with even less time to gain more clients. Please pray for her strength and endurance. Thanks for sharing that, Vincent.
Yeah, prayers their way. Lisa says, prayers for Brother Irwin, settled in assisted living this week, admitted to ER today for intensive care.
So I think Jim's on Lisa's.
Yeah. Banana Jim. That's who we got in the house. Thank you for sharing that with us, Jim. Continued prayers for your brother Irwin. Someone can explain why Banana Jim. Thank you, Kavita. But continued prayers. And Lisa, good to see you too if you're on. Glad you all are part of this community.
Chad says, my wife, currently separated, has relapsed after several months, and me being so new to sobriety, I need to focus on my own journey. I pray for her to find a higher power to help her on her path.
Yeah. Keep going, Chad. Keep being courageous. Stay on the path. And prayers for you and your wife. Glad you're part of this community. Chad, and if you're new here, I think you are new here. It's good to have you here, truly. Lex is in the house. Lex says our friend is locked up dealing with a legal problem from 10 years ago. Lex, my goodness, prayers for your friend, man. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that with this community. Prayers for them and their family that deals with that.
And Roy says continued prayers for Mom. She got results on her CAT scan. Both carotid arteries have blocked and are pressing on her esophagus. Oh.
Prayers for your mother. Thank you for sharing that with us, Roy. Ben says, Ben's on YouTube. Ben is on the YouTube. He's also here, but he says, praying for courage and wisdom as I continue my 9th step work this next week. Man, for those of you that don't know the 9th step, look it up right now. The 9th step is a big one. It's where we make amends to people where we've caused harm in our lives. So prayers for you, Ben. Thank you for lifting that up. Wisdom and strength, my brother.
Last one. Christy says, community. We pray God's goodness and grace blesses free and what is ahead.
Thank you, Christy. We are joining you in that prayer. And listen, if y'all have more burdens, more heartaches that you're dealing with, continue to put them in throughout the week. We will lift y'all up. We'll send some encouragement your way, some prayers, some good vibes.
And I do love that our app, you can send your prayers to our app and we get them instant to our email. So if you have anything and you want to get it to us instantly and you have the free app, please send it. And if you don't have the free app, download it. Yes,
that's a good word. And listen, it's how we do life here. We do it together. We do the hard stuff together. We do the good stuff together. Speaking of doing it together, the wagon remains a central image in this community that has been since day one. And for us, it represents that we do not do shame. We say it every week here. We don't do shame. We lift one another up. We don't kick the wounded. If you fall, what do? We get back up again. We help one another back on. We do it together. On top of the wagon is a giving box. In fact, there's giving boxes scattered throughout here free. And truly, it is your generous giving that helps sustain this mission. It helps us move forward. And y'all, we are moving forward in big ways. I hope you heard that tonight. Some big things are happening here. Your giving makes all of this possible. And I don't say that out of shame or guilt. I say it because it's true, and we're grateful for your giving. Truly, we are so grateful for the generous giving in this community. If you're not here in person, if you want to give online, I want to remind you there are 3 ways to give in this community outside of being in person in our boxes. You can first download the free app that Tammy just mentioned, and you can give right there. It's free. Or you can go to the website, freespiritualcommunity.com/give, and you can give there. Safe, simple, secure, or text the number on your screen. Text Be the Wagon. Again, safe, simple, and secure, and it is your generous giving that sustains the mission here, which is breaking the silence of addiction and creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. And it is so good to be with you all tonight, in person and virtually. It's always good to be with you. So glad you're part of this community. Let's go out with a prayer, shall we? Let's do, how about the Lord's Prayer? Do we have the Lord's Prayer on the screen? If you don't know the Lord's Prayer, it's on the screen. And I invite you to just find some quiet in your heart, find some quiet in your space. You can open your palms. It's a sign of openness. Open for what God has in store for us. Open to God's wisdom and God's voice. And the prayer goes like this. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and glory forever. Amen. And to you, my free brothers and sisters, may you act with great amounts of courage this week. Stay in the arena, even when you're getting your butt kicked, even when you're disappointed, even when it feels like things are falling apart. Stay in the arena, because in the arena, it's the place where you experience all kinds of grace and peace. And the God who says, I got you. I got you. Grace and peace to you, my brothers and sisters. We will see you next time.